Hello everybody, it's Vertical Sandwich. Welcome back to Book Reviews. So, my 2 reviews ago, I had to stop the video because of crows that I had to chase away. And a video ago, I had to edit out a series of incredibly violent sneezes. So let's see what stops this review. Okay, so today, Eric. The 9th Discworld book, here it is. See, it's Faust, and they just crossed it out and wrote Eric, because otherwise it wouldn't be really obvious. Alright, Eric is the Discworld's only demonology hacker. Pity he's not very good at it. All he wants is his 3 wishes granted. Nothing fancy. To be immortal, rule the world, have the most beautiful woman in the world fall madly in love with him. The usual stuff. But instead of a tractable demon, he calls up Rincewind, probably the most incompetent wizard in the universe, and the extremely intractable and hostile form of travel accessory known as the luggage. With them on his side, Eric's in for a ride through time and space that is bound to make him wish, quite fervently, again, this time, that he'd never been born. Alright, one of the things you should notice about this book is that it's tiny. This book is absolutely like a day read. Like, I read it in like 2 days. So, anyway, this book resolves the cliffhanger at the end of Sorcery. Like, I guess cliffhanger, I don't know. I mean, it's like, not really. It's just a thing. Like, books with Rincewind in them always just leave him somewhere. Like, that's a thing that they do. So, like, if you're going to read a book about Rincewind, like, whatever at the end, there's going to be a giant problem. You're just going to be like, oh, well, now he's stuck, and then fill in some situation where he's clearly going to be dead. Like, and I don't know if this one does that. I actually shouldn't say that because that's not always true. It's not always true, but like the Color of Magic one is, the Color of Magic one, like that book. When he wrote that book, that's the meanest way to break a novel ever. Like, I read the Color of Magic and was just like, well, what is going on? Like, that's the reason I read the second book, was because I couldn't leave where that left out. And then you read Sorcery, and you're like, this is not what you should do to a character in a book. Like, and I'm not gonna spoil those things for you. Like, but yeah, that's Rincewind's thing, right? Is like, Rincewind's thing is that he's an absolute total coward, who tries his best to avoid danger. Therefore, he ends up in the most dangerous situations all the time, every time. That's the thing that happens. So, Rincewind gets summoned by somebody who is trying to summon a demon that will grant him his wishes, and Rincewind can't do that. So at this point, Eric has summoned Rincewind, and still thinks he's a demon. Rincewind has been trying to talk to him and tell him that he's not. But, demon? Eric peered around the door. What shape are you? He said. Pretty poor shape, said Rincewind. I brought you some food. You do eat, do you? Rincewind tried some. It was a bowl of cereal, nuts, and dried fruit. He didn't have any quarrel with any of that. It was just that somewhere in the preparation, something had apparently done to these innocent ingredients what it takes 1,000,000 gravities to do to a neutron star. If you died of eating this sort of thing, they wouldn't have to bury you. They would just need to drop you somewhere where the ground was soft. He managed to swallow it. It wasn't difficult. The trick would have been preventing it from heading downwards. Lovely, he choked. The parrot did a splendid impersonation of someone being sick. I've decided to let you go, said Eric. It's pretty pointless keeping you, isn't it? Absolutely. You haven't any powers at all? Sorry, dead failure. You don't look too demonic, come to think of it, said Eric. They never do. You can't trust them wuss names, chortled the parrot. It lost its balance again. Polly want a biscuit, it said, upside down. Rincewind spun around. You stay out of this, Beaky. There was a sound behind them, like the universe clearing its throat. The chalk marks of the magic circle grew terribly bright for a moment, became fiery lines against the scuffed planks, and something dropped out of the empty air and landed heavily on the floor. It was a large metal-bound chest. It had fallen on its curved lid. After a while it started to rock violently, and then it extended hundreds of little pink legs, and with considerable effort flipped itself over. Finally it shuffled around until it was watching the pair of them. It was all the more disconcerting because it was staring without having any eyes to do it with. Eric moved first. He grasped the homemade magic sword, which flapped wildly. "You are a demon," he said. "I nearly believed it when you said you weren't." "Whee!" said the parrot. "It's just my luggage," said Rincewind desperately. "It's a sort of, well, it goes everywhere with me. There's nothing demonic about it, or," he hesitated. "Not much, anyway," he finished lamely. "Avaunt!" "No, not again." The boy looked at the open book. "My commands earlier resume," he said firmly. "The most beautiful woman who has ever lived, mastery of all kingdoms of the earth, and to live forever. Get on with it." Rincewind stood frozen. "Well, go on," said Eric. "You're supposed to disappear in a puff of smoke." "Listen, do you think I can just snap my fingers?" Rincewind snapped his fingers. There was a puff of smoke. Rincewind gave his fingers a long, shocked stare, as one might regard a gun that has been hanging on the wall for decades and has suddenly gone off and perforated the cap. "They've hardly ever done that before," he said. He looked down. "Ah!" he said and closed his eyes. It was a better world in the darkness behind his eyelids. If he tapped his foot, he could persuade himself that he could feel the floor. He could know that he was really standing in the room, and that the urgent signals from all his other senses, which were telling him that he was suspended in the air some thousands of miles or so above the disk, were just a bad dream he'd wake up from. He hastily canceled that thought. If he was asleep, he'd prefer to stay that way. You could fly in dreams. If he woke up, it was a long way to fall. "Perhaps I have died, and I really am a demon," he thought. It was an interesting point. He opened his eyes again. "Wow!" said Eric, his eyes gleaming. "Can I have all of it?" The boy was standing in the same position as he had been in the room. So was the luggage. So to Rincewind's annoyance was the parrot. It was perching in midair, looking speculatively at the cosmic panorama below. The disk might almost have been designed to be seen from space. It hadn't. Rincewind was damn sure been designed to be lived on. It hadn't, Rincewind was damn sure been designed to be lived on. But he had to admit that it was impressive. Okay. So, here's the thing about Eric. It's a lampooning of kind of the idea of evil in the afterlife, and demons, the demonology, and there's these kind of ideas about the corporate world in the hierarchy of hell. And these are all very Terry Pratchett kind of things. But some things need to be said. Is Eric important as a Discworld book? It is. It's a Rincewind plotline book. It is the bridge between sorcery and whatever the next Rincewind book is, which I can't remember for the life of me what it is called. I know what it's about. It's brilliant. It's absolutely and totally brilliant. But yeah, I can't for the life of me remember what the name of the next Rincewind book is. We're going to get to it, and it is brilliant. But this book has by some been referred to as the worst book in the series. And it's a weak book. It's brief. It's so short. And I think that's the problem, is most of Terry Pratchett's novels run between 300 and 400 pages. That's a standard size for a Discworld novel, 300 to 400 pages. And Pratchett works really good in that space. Like, you give him 400 pages, and he can really build some stuff up, run an A plot line and a B plot line and even a C plot line, mix them around, have things revealed that are surprising and funny and inventive and whatever. And, like, this book feels really thick. And it is. It is. This book is... I mean, it's even in a larger format, so this book is only 150 pages. So that's a blessing for this book because it's not the most intriguing read. Like I said, when I kind of read the rankings on Discworld books and kind of how some people had rated these, and I saw that this was rated the last book, I wasn't horribly shocked. I was a little shocked that there weren't weaker books than this one later in the series, as ideas kind of wear thin. But considering how well Pratchett's held up to book 20, making it to book 40, writing mostly good books is not much of a stretch. So is this the weakest book in the first 20? Yeah. Yeah, it is. This is the worst Discworld book I've read so far. I mean, again, it's a blessing it's only 150 pages. Like, I mean, I think if you're reading the books and you're reading the plot lines, you clearly need to read this. And, like I said, it took me 2 days. It's not that much of an inconvenience to have to read it. Like, it has that going for it. Its pacing is fine, it reads, but it kind of feels dull. Like, it's like with Pratchett's books, what he does is he's like, well, here's the setup, here's the setup, here's the setup, here's the setup. Now here are the jokes. And the setup makes the jokes so much better, right? And in this book, he just kind of went, I don't have time, here are the jokes. And that's how it feels to me, right? It feels like a book that has less work in it. And it doesn't lampoon its ideas the way something like Pyramids takes an entire culture, it takes a bunch of time examining it and making fun of it. Like, the story of Faust is not treated that way. Like, in here, it's not, there aren't all these references to Faust, there aren't all these kind of problematic, I mean, there aren't. It just kind of gives you the story and just goes like, boom, 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 boom. Like, there you go. Are there some funny moments to it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're okay. But, I can't feel as jazzed about this book as I do about the other Discworld books. Like, I can get all hyped up about other Discworld books and just be like, oh my god, you gotta read this. Oh my god, you're gonna love. Oh my god, you're really blah, 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 blah. But, like, for this book, not so much. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is the weakest book out of the first 20 Discworld books. It might be the weakest book out of the series. I don't know yet. But some people have argued that and have said that. Now, is the weakest book in the Discworld series, if this is the weakest book in the Discworld series and the worst Discworld book, that says a lot about the Discworld series, because this book is not unreadable. It's a little boring, but it's a quick read. It's fine. Like, it's not, I mean, this is not the worst book I've read. It's not like, it was fine. It was fine. This book looks like a bad book compared to Terry Pratchett's other books, but compared to all books in general, this book's okay. Like, it's an average book. It's fine. It's Terry Pratchett's a skilled writer. There is nothing in this that will make you like yawn so hard you break your jaw or anything. It's okay. Like, and so that says a lot about the Discworld series. If, like, the worst book is an alright book, then that means the most of the books are amazing. And most of the books are amazing so far. So that being said, yeah, I didn't love this, but I mean, I think you're kind of stuck. It's between this is the books in the Rincewind plotline after this, or the book in the Rincewind plotline after this is amazing. So you should read it. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about this. This might be the weakest book in the series. It's the weakest book in the first 20. But it's readable. Like, when you hit this, don't expect good things when you pick this book up. Just expect that you're going to plow through your 150 pages so you can get to Moving Pictures, which is fine, because Moving Pictures is amazing. And the book after Moving Pictures is amazing. And then the book after that is amazing. So, yeah, Eric, that's fine. It was fine. It was okay. It was okay. It was average. It was an average book from some other guy. It's the weakest link in the chain so far. So, saying that, next week, Moving Pictures. Bye, everybody.